Like when I first saw you, you felt so at home in that. I felt like a kid.
Really?
Whereas I felt like you had a total handle on it.
Thank you so much for talking with me about The Day of the Jackal. I'm watching it right now. I'm on the edge of my seat. I would love to hear from each of you what it was about this story, about these characters that drew you in to be so involved both on camera and behind the camera. Lashana, would you like to start us off?
Sure. So many things. I've keep saying I've been a member of MI6. I'm not.
I love that you've been a well-schooled member of MI6 for a while now.
Exclusive.
Oh gosh, I should reword that. I have been in the world of before, and to read the first 3 episodes and see that there was just so much more that I could do within that world, both as on a human level, but also really to celebrate the women that are in this world that don't get their light and don't get their time. And in the world of espionage, there's so much that is like very suave and classic with it, as I've been taught by, the industry. But actually, there's just so many ways of telling that story. And I was proud to come on board to tell the story in a different way, whether it be how cinematic the show is, because I saw that from the first reads, but also just how special it is when you take an original IP and you turn it into something that is its own iconic piece of art. That's what I'm hoping that audiences can take from it. But through Bianca's eyes, I really saw someone who was fighting to be human and fighting to be whatever her version of normal is, but also struggling.
Right?
Yes.
All these kind of
yes.
complexities.
So complex and so fraught with everything. Like she's got a coat of her complete past that she wears every single day, and I felt uncomfortable reading her in a really good way, those first few episodes. And I knew that audiences, especially women audiences, would be able to watch this and think, root for her, but then also like feel morally quite bad for rooting for her at different times, because she creates such a mess everywhere. And I think that her mess is just glorious to watch, to be honest.
It comes across that way, definitely.
Okay.
And Eddie, your character is certainly as complex. What was it that drew you to this story, to his character?
What drew me to the story was the scripts. Honestly, I'd grown up loving the original movie with Edward Fox, and I love this genre. It's a genre of the sort of espionage thriller. There's something. What I adored about it is I describe it as being analog rather than digital. It's about the spy craft. It's about the disguises. It's about the pre-planning and the meticulousness of that, and then this kind of this casually ruthless human being, the levels of his humanity. And what I feel that these scripts had done was create 2 characters who hopefully as an audience you're rooting for, you are compelled by, you're also astonished by some of their dodgy moral choices, and yet you know that they're on a path of collision, and yet you kind of love both of them. And that structurally is kind of intriguing.
Absolutely. And both of your characters, you're right. We're rooting for both of them. And we know that that's not going to turn out well for one of them.
Well, maybe it does. Maybe it does.
Exactly.
Maybe they end up happily ever after.
Exactly. Maybe they actually end up as really good friends, because there's such a great parallel between the 2 of them. That actually they'd work together really well.
I think they'd get on well.
But one could hope.
That's
exactly.
Yeah.
A musical.
Yeah. Now, Lashana, obviously you have experience in the world of 007. Did you bring any of that experience with you, or any of that characterization with you when creating Bianca?
Initially, I thought that's not that's all I would bring, but that would be like the basis of my research, because I spoke to so many wonderful and empowering women at the time researching for that film, and that's I created a structure for what this world looks like for me in my approach to characters in this world as an actor. But actually, I was very happy to see that I didn't necessarily need to springboard from that experience because this felt completely new. The training was new. I hadn't been around London trying to find the Jackal in my spare time with our consultant. I hadn't done those things, and the weaponry, my weaponry work in comparison to No Time to Die was also a little different.
Was it? Because I was so, like, when I first saw you, you felt so at home in that. I felt like a kid.
Really?
Whereas I felt like you had a total handle on it.
I mean, there's a great muscle memory that I was able to go off of, but I find that with stunts and weaponry work in this industry, I like to feel that the character has their own flair, their own style, and Bianca has a completely different style to Nomi, and I liked that because genuinely, as a student, it made me feel like I kind of didn't know what I was doing at the beginning, which is lovely because then you're not relying on muscle memory, you're creating new skills. And the environment is just different. No Time to Die's MI6 is completely different to our set build here. And this one in particular made me feel so just enriched with ideas and capabilities that I didn't anticipate, that really fed into the story. So I'm glad that they were two separate experiences that can kind of stand on their own.
Absolutely. Oh, and Addie, you mentioned coming in kind of feeling like a kid. What was your training experience like?
My training experience with guns or with everything?
With everything. We see you dangling from places.
A lot of dangling. That Redmayne. Always dangling. Stop.
Eddie, stop dangling.
Stop dangling. Stop with them. My trade, the part of my job that I love the most is kind of the rehearsal and the prep. And what was unique about this is because you're an actor playing an actor, basically. That's what, the Jackal's capacity to shapeshift, to speak different languages, to speak different dialects, meant that all of those things, it was like an actor's playground, really. So I worked with an amazing team. Alexandra Reynolds, a wonderful movement coach. I worked with Natalie Humphreys, our brilliant costume designer. Paul Biddis, who was the sort of gentleman who taught us about espionage and various things, and of course the brilliant makeup department headed by Mel and Richard. And all of that, what I loved is normally when you're preparing for a character, you work with those sorts of people, but here all of that craft is seen on the screen. You see the process of things. You watch him getting into character. You see him taking the intricacies of the makeup and the accents off, really.
I will let you go. Thank you so much for your time. Lovely talking with both of you.
Apologize.
Thank you so much.